Hey guys, it's 258. Welcome back to, I guess, the ending of Volume 2 of An Affliction of the Heart. Goddamn, last chapter, I fucking got mad at Warden so fucking hard. I really wanted to just bitch slap him hard as for him to just go flying into that tree that his freaking wife is buried under. Just, that's how it felt, okay? So fuck you. Anyways, guys, I think I went on a huge ass fucking rant. And that, anyway, sorry if that, I guess, annoyed you guys. But, my channel, my videos, what I do in them is my reaction, technically. So, we're going to read resolution and epilogue of this video. So, let's hop right into it. Resolution. How did you know where I'd be? Warden asked quietly, his head on his heels, staring at Storm's grave. Kuno raised a brow, looking at him sideways, her expression quizzical. Warden gave a soft laugh, burying his nose against his hoof. I guess that is kind of a stupid question. We always seem to have our big emotional moments right here, in front of your ex-wife, Kuno said with a faint, wry smile. Warden nodded gently, rubbing his nose with the hoof. How hard was it for you to keep it a secret for so long? Kuno's ears splayed back. I wish I could say it was easy, but it was so hard. She shook her head slowly, rubbing at her cheek with the hoof, frowning deeply. Especially when you kept telling me how in love with me you were, and how your greatest fear was waking up one day and not being in love with me anymore. Warden nodded gently, looking up at her. So it was pretty hard, huh? Kuno nodded gently. Indeed, the guilt was tearing at my insides, but I resolved to make you happy. I didn't think we could survive you. Wait, what? I didn't think we could survive you finding out that it had been a spell all along, and I was terrified of losing you. I know I'm probably a monster, but between having you know the truth and losing you, or you being blissfully unaware and happy with me, I'd take you being happy with me every time. Warden nodded again, rising to himself shakily and wrapping his forehead around the changeling, kissing her neck gently. I understand it. Must have been really bad. How are you so understanding? Kuno asked, pinning her ears back and sniffing faintly, kissing the bridge of his nose. I put myself in your place, Warden said simply. Explain, Kuno said, confused. He looks at it from your perspective, Kuno. I feel like that's an obvious thing. Wait, what did this comment say? Yes, okay. Okay, so explain, Kuno, confused. Well, you had this weak stallion show you sympathy. You used a spell on him. You started to siphon love from him, and then you started to fall in love with him. You left because you couldn't handle the guilt, but you decided that he'd be happiest if you were with him to keep him happy, and that kept you happy. But the more time you spent with him, the more attached he grew to you. You did everything for him. You were in love with him. You turned into a dragon for him. But there's always this terrible secret hanging over it that it was just a spell, a facade. He wasn't really in love with you, Warden showed off, scratching the hoof against his cheek delicately. You kept that a secret because you care about me, and because you love me. Kuno sniffed faintly, tears spilling down her cheeks. I don't deserve you, she whispered softly, looking away. At this moment, I don't think both of you deserve each other, because literally Warden just beat you up, Kuno. That still roused me up a bit. Warden shook his head, pulling the changeling's head around so he could lay a gentle kiss against her lips. Life isn't fair. Take the good things and hold on to them with both hooves. I know I'm not going to let you go, no matter what. Warden pressed close to the changeling, holding around her tightly with his hooves. Even if you're not perfect, even if you're a monster, you're my monster, you're my... Warden licked his lips nervously before finishing quietly. You're my sunshine. Kuno's ears splayed back and she muttered a little on the inside, squeezing Warden tightly with her hooves, sniffing faintly and nuzzling into his neck. I love you, Warden. I love you so much. I know, Warden said with a gentle smile. You two are fucking cute no matter what the circumstances are, to be honest. Warden and Kuno arrived back at their home nearly an hour after they started walking. Warden had injured his hoof repeatedly when he struck her, and he needed support to even get back home, limping heavily, leaning on the changeling. Kuno, for her part, was already beginning to heal. The trauma Warden had imparted on her face in his rage was already fading, and Kuno was turning to her usual cute self. Warden stumbled and splayed out right in the middle of the hallway. Once he got inside the front door, resting his head on his good hoof and closing his eyes. Kuno picked her way around him, and rolling her eyes slightly, she headed to the kitchen, taking out a slice of wedding cake and stuffing her muzzle with it before heading back towards the front door. Where are you going? Warden asked wearily. Kuno raised her brow down at him. You heard my entire conversation with Chrysalis, right? Warden nodded meekly. Then you know that she is in possession of a magic spell that can allow her access to a pony's heart through subtle manipulation, and she's hellbent on getting at shining armor. Kuno pointed out calmly, opening the front door. Warden groaned faintly, pushing himself to his hooves. Kuno paused at the front door, looking back over his shoulder with a frown. You don't have to come with me. I'm just going to go warn Cadence and Shining Armor of what is going to happen. Warden shook his head, stumbling over to the Wait, what? Warden shook his head, stumbling over to the painting in the hallway and pushing it aside, reaching down into the wall to pull out the packet of powdered greenswath. He opened it up, frowning slightly. You're going to be potentially facing a changeling queen, and I doubt you'll be able to turn into a dragon this time around. Not to mention that you have to convince Chen in armor that there's a subtle spell that his wife can't detect. They'd instantly be suspicious of you for so many reasons. It'll just be easier with me there. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I like how Woody just stopped this through spontaneously out of nowhere. Goddamn, you two fucking love each other. You don't deserve each other at this moment. Kuno paused at that and then gave a gentle nod. You're right. Warden gave a faint smile, then pressed the packet against his nose, inhaling hard. He paused as he drew back, scrunching up his face, and then sneezing repeatedly. A shiver passed down his form, and then he bounced slightly in place, nodding once. I'm ready. Let's go. Alright, he got the drugs again. He's on them drugs, boys. But you know, it's for a good reason. They were both for good reason. To be at least happy in his wedding and actually fly up to the cloud. And I guess for fighting purposes now, so these drugs are good. Drug good for Warden at this moment. Kuno gave him an uncertain look, ears spinning back. I'm not letting you fly there. This isn't exactly a train. There isn't exactly a train outside, Warden stated flatly. Kuno nodded once, pushing the door open and stepping outside. Her form shivered, and with a flash of green, the shape of a griffin resolved itself, nearly twice as large as Warden. Warden stared. I didn't realize griffins were so huge. They're not, Kuno said, clicking her new beak impatiently. Climb on. Wait, so she can change her size? She can change her size too? What is this nonsense? She can change into a dragon. Now she can change the size of any creature she possesses. What the fuck? There's so many fucking details I need to fucking know about this right now. Anyways, Kuno says, climb on. Warden delicately stepped over to his now griffin wife, climbing carefully up onto her back. Hold on around my chest, not my neck, and don't pull out any feathers, Kuno stated flatly, clicking her wicked-looking beak for punctuation. Warden nodded, wrapping his hooves around her. Kuno extended her new massive wingspan and then leapt into the air, darting off towards Canterlot. Oh man, are they gonna face off, Chrysalis? This is the question I have. Are they actually gonna face off? Nearly half an hour later, Kuno landed at the outskirts of Canterlot, and Warden stumbled off her back, staggering slightly and then slowly stretching. Kuno shuddered and reverted back to her default unchanging form, the white Pegasus with blue mane and tail. So, what's our plan? Warden asked, rubbing his forehead and stretching slowly. Kuno hummed thoughtfully. Well, it's not morning yet. Night court is probably still in session. Hopefully Shining Armor is on call. I know they keep a few guards on hoof during the court. Appreciate. Okay, first thing. Oh yeah, the Empire. The Crystal Empire is back, and yeah. It's like you're in Canterlot right now, which is probably a bad thing, but you know. Anyways, I just realized in the show, Chrysalis doesn't really know where Shining Armor and Cadence are because they left Canterlot. Unless she has spies, just knowing that. Warden raised a brow at her slowly. How do you know all this? Kuno gave a faint giggle at that, shaking her head. We took over Canterlot once, remember? Alright, I literally just mentioned that, now I'm confused. Okay, Kuno gave a faint giggle at that, shaking her head. We took over Canterlot once, remember? Ah, right, Warden said, scratching his head with a hoof. I have the same reaction as Warden right now. So, Kuno said, shifting her weight from side to side awkwardly. We're cool, right? Warden raised a brow. You need to ask? Kuno nodded, nudging him and beginning to walk into the sleepy Canterlot. Warden sighed faintly. I love you, Kuno. You're a changeling. Surely you can feel it. But it was so sudden. You went from hating me to loving me in a few hours. I feel like maybe the spell came back or something, Kuno admitted, ears flattening as she looked away. Warden shook his head, giving a faint smile, stopping and then pulling Kuno around to face him and a hoof on her chin. He leaned in to kiss her nose gently. I love you, Kuno. And it isn't magic this time, and even if it is somehow magic, that's fine. The point is, you've done enough for me so far for me to fall in love for you. Anyway. Wait, what? The point is, you've done enough for me so far for me to fall in love for you. Anyway, it just took me a few hours to get over the urge to beat you senseless. Kuno smiled, kissing his nose, and they continued to walk towards the castle. Thank you for being so awesome, Warden. Hey, it's not like I have a lot of choices, I think I'm gonna typos. Hey, it's not like a lot of choices, Warden teased, wiggling a hoof at her. And I'm married to you, kinda stuck. Mine forever, Kuno purred, pressing close to him as they walked, kissing his neck happily. You two are fucking adorable. Fucking Christ, I can't handle this. Focus, Kuno, Warden said with a faint smile. We have a prince to save. Do you really, though? Do you really? Now, this is the question. Since, is Kuno just gonna change? Like, I want Kuno just to be the one changing that is accepted. Just because she loves some pony and that some pony loves her. It's interesting. Anyways, not sure if we're okay. Time passed because you know that little thing that shows you that something's going on. Anyway, just hop right into that little section. The two dark guards at the front gates of the royal dark. Why they could be dark? They're lunar guards. Oh wait, fuck you. The two dark guards of the front gates of the royal palace reluctantly moved aside to allow the two Pegasi into the court when Warden announced to them that he had an urgent message for shining armor on behalf of the reserve guard. Technically, Warden had been a member of the reserve guard since the court hearings where he had defended his actions in keeping company with a changeling. Wait, what? Okay. Warden had been a member of the reserve guard since the court hearings where he had defended his actions in keeping company with a changeling. He had been temporarily withdrawn from the reserve guard program pending the court's decision and had simply never gone back. Yeah, because he literally just left for another area. Like, you can't really get Warden back. What the fuck? No, he's back now, but fuck you mean? I wonder. Like, Cadence allows it. British Shining allows it too, but like... Pretty sure everybody that knows Kuno's a changeling, they still like take nervous glances at her, which is annoying. Kuno and Warden walked through the front gates and then immediately headed for the night court building. Another pair of guards stood aside to allow them into the building itself, and Warden and Kuno stepped inside the doors. Okay, what? Okay. I'm pausing because half the time I get confused or some noise in the background is literally fucking... Ooh, I just become so out of it. Anyways, guys, sorry about that. Anyways, Princess Cadence and Princess Luna were both sitting on the throne, each being addressed by a farmer who had a complaint about a swarm of parasites ripping down his barn, which he needed to house feed his cattle for the coming season. Kuno paused and sat down at the side of the court, and Warden sat next to her, blinking once. No rush? Oh, I thought you'd be mad. Kuno shook her head gently. No rush, it's a sudden little spell that I gave you, and it takes a long time for it to work, and it requires a certain amount of non-magical work. It'll take quite a long time for her to actually get anywhere, which begs the question of how exactly she intends to get that close to shining armor with any kind of regularity. Whatever. Warden hummed thoughtfully, rubbing a hoof against his chin and then scratching up his nose. Wonder were you messing with your senses? Kuno asked with a faint smile. Warden nodded, poking out his tongue in distaste. Can't taste anything, and my fur feels like a thick glove. Kuno giggled before she stiffened and whirling to face the floor. Kuno giggled before she stiffened, whirling to face the door. There was a reverberating sound of magic, and then the doors were pushed open by Queen Chrysalis herself. The slumped forms of two struggling guards were visible just outside the door, the both of them trying to force themselves up from a green magical glow, holding them firm to the ground. Yeah, no rush, Kuno. I think this is a problem. Warden's eyes widened and Kuno leapt to her feet. They were all beat to the punch by Princess Luna, who threw herself from her throne and towards the changeling queen, squaring her stance. A flash of blue engulfed the princess's form, and suddenly she was encased in stylish silver armor from nose to hooves. What? Excuse me? Does Luna just have armor ready whenever combat is immediate? Damn, that's gotta be beautiful. I would love to see Luna in action. Actually, I would love to see any of the princesses in action. We should technically see Twilight most of the time, but you know, she's technically sorta part of the main characters, so Release my guards immediately, Princess Luna demanded, a hoof lifting imperiously. Chrysalis gave a snort of contempt, and her horn magic faded. The guards immediately rose, scooping up their spears, and moving to stand on either side of the queen, points of their spears pointing inwards. Kuno's eyes narrowed before they widened slightly, and she murmured, "Oh, you sneaky bitch." Warden opened his mouth to ask for an explanation when Chrysalis gave a shrug of her shoulders. Okay, what? I just read like the 3 words here. What? I am here to turn myself in. My hive has exiled me. I wish to impart information on their destruction to you. Luna stiffened slightly, staring at the changeling queen from under her helm, her eyes narrowing suspiciously. This seems a bad This seems a bad plan, Warden stated with a frown. Kuno turned towards him slightly, hissing an explanation. Guess who's gonna be interrogating her? As though to confirm Kuno's suspicions, Chris tossed her mane, eyes staring dangerously. I will only divulge this information to your highest guard. He should remember me quite well. Well, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That's where I'm at in this moment. Princess Luna looked back over her shoulder at Princess Cadence. The Princess of Love was looking mutinous, standing on splayed legs, breathing hard with suppressed rage. Throw her in the dungeon! We can deal with her later. Cadence is pissed because she ruined her wedding day. Understandable to be very well, Princess spat, allowing herself to be crowded towards the dungeons. Kuno frowned, biting her brown lip. Why didn't you stop them? Warden asked, his ears spinning back. Kuno looked back at him, frowning deeply. A changeling trying to interrupt a queen from being locked up in the dungeon? Warden paused at that, and then nodded quietly. What do we do? Yeah, what do we do? Like, this is a bad situation right now, because this is so fucking bad. Don't know if that was a song I remembered. I don't think Chris has even noticed me, so we get the three princesses and shining armor in a room together, and we lay it all out. Everything, we just have to hope they believe us, Kuno said uncertainly. We could go home, Warden offered quietly. Kuno frowned deeply. What? We could just go home, Warden reiterated, looking away. Shining armor exacerbated my injuries when he kept me from you. I owe him no allegiance. I don't even know. Exacerbated my injury. I owe him no allegiance. Why? Why do, like, he's the one that, yeah, okay, it's understandable, like, understandable because I guess to everybody the changeling was literally an enemy, but to you she was more than that, and you're mad because he literally kept you from a certain enemy. You're just mad because he gave you injuries because he kept you away from her. That's like adorable. That's adorable. Just realized that. Shaking her head, Kuno gently nudged him. You know that if we just walked away, you'd never forgive yourself. Warden sighed softly. I know. Kuno smiled, nudging his cheek with her nose. Good. Now give me an audience with Celestia and the rest of them, pet. What? Warden rolled his eyes, kissing Kuno on the cheek. You know you're only supposed to call me that when I'm wearing the collar and the leash. What? Okay, you guys were what? Kuno giggled, nuzzling his gently, wrapping a hoof around him to stop him from leaving. I love that we haven't changed despite everything. Warden smiled, disentangling himself from his wife. I know, hun, I know, he murmured, kissing her cheek, but we can discuss this later when we're not trying to save people. True. Kuno pursed her lips and nodded, pouting. Emergency is always getting in the way of my naughties. Warden smiled, pushing away from her and heading for Cadence. Great. You know what? Can you just turn into a dragon? I would just want her to be a dragon just for her to just talk to the princesses. It would be fucking great. It'd be nice and great. Kuno looked very small as she sat in front of Celestia, Luna, Cadence, shining armor, and 6 of the royal guard. Kuno was in her true form, her wings twitching nervously. Warden was sitting a little bit behind her, looking out of place. Chrysalis came to my home and demanded a spell from me. It was a legacy of Maud Hive. It's a potent love spell that takes effect over a long time. It's very subtle, and you need to know what you're looking for. And how do we know you haven't used the spell on Warden? Celestia asked bluntly. Kuno stammered at that, unsure. Warden stepped forward. Allow me, he said gently, touching Kuno's shoulder with a hoof. Kuno nodded, lowering her head. Warden lifted his head. Kuno had me under her spell for nearly 2 years. I have no idea. I thought that all of my feelings were mutual, and this is no longer the case. Okay, what? Warden lifted his head. Kuno had me under her spell for nearly 2 years. I have no idea. Or I had no idea. I thought that all of my feelings were mutual, and this is no longer the case. Luna asked, raising her brow. Warden nodded once. She lifted the spell recently, a few hours ago, in fact. And yet you stand with her now? Cadence asked, her eyes narrowing. I wouldn't pause, looking back at his wife. She lifted the spell, and I wasn't in love with her anymore. I assaulted her physically several times, but once I had time to think it over, I fell in love with her again. Or for the first time, however you want to look at it. You realize that we cannot accept your witness, Warden, shining armor stated flatly. You have been alone with someone who has, through your admission and her own access to magic that muddles your mind. Warden nodded gently at that. Do whatever you need to confirm this, but we have this information, and we couldn't just sit on it. Even after what I did to you in the courtyard 2 years ago, shining armor asked calmly. Warden gave a slow exhale, chewing on his tongue. I was all for going back to our nice bed, considering this is the second time in 24 hours that I've needed to doze myself up with Greenswith, I can't say this word, it's the powder, Greenswith powder to get around. Okay, so, in the last 24 hours, you have been married, fell out of love with, and then fell back in love with a changeling whom has had you under a magic spell for 2 years, subtly manipulating your emotions only for Queen Chrysalis to come and steal the spell from your changeling wife, which is presumably what set into effect the chain of events that led to you finding out about it. Cadence asked with a raised brow. Warden gave a single nod. In short, Cadence shook her head slowly, while Luna and Celestia leaned closer to each other to exchange a short burst of whispered conversation. So, how do you two propose that we deal with this situation? Shining Armor asked. We can't confirm your story, and if the magic does as you say it does, it will be a dangerous, insidious thing to combat. Kuno lifted her head, taking a step forwards. I have an idea on how to deal with this. Warden laid down, resting his head on his hooves. He passed out almost instantly. Oh, wait, what? Alright, powder. Alright, Warden and Pegasus Kuno were led by an inconspicuous royal guard entourage who covered carriage. Warden climbed up into it, rubbing his head, sitting down on the seat, while Kuno sat on the other side. The guard closed the door, and the carriage jolted as it started down the long path towards Ponyville. What I miss? Warden asked, rubbing his forehead. Well, Chrysalis is boned, and not in a good way, happy way, Kuno said with a soft giggle. How so? Warden asked, sniffling faintly and rubbing his eyes. Well, I used my spell on Shining Armor under close observation of all three princesses. Candace was the first to figure out how to sniff out the spell, and Luna was the first to be able to lift it. I don't think that Chrysalis knows I was there, and even if she did sense me, she's in the dungeon now. Kuno said with a smug smile, and the spell is all rendered completely useless. They'll just lift it every time she uses it. They're not going to do anything more than that? Wouldn't ask blankly. Kuno raised her brow at him, a slight grin stretching her muzzle. Not when she's telling them the changing secrets of her own free will. Why would she do that? Wouldn't ask uncertainly. Because, Kuno began waving the hoof. That's her endgame plan. I'm not sure on the details, but the gist of it is that she'll be in the dungeon waiting. Shining Armor will be the one to tend to her, and she'll use her magic to make him slowly fall in love with her. Eventually, she'd be able to engineer her escape and get away, taking him with her, and she'd get him always in there. With her thorough promises of information. With her promises of information. I don't even know. Typos, man, they're bothering the fuck out of me. So they're manipulating her while she thinks that she's manipulating them. Warden asked blankly. Yep, Kuno said with a grin. Or they could just not have Shining Armor be her keeper. Warden sat back at that, frowning deeply and saying with heavy sarcasm, geez, trying to get her jailer to fall in love with her? Who even does that? Some pony who's desperate and knows when she's onto a good thing, Kuno said with a soft smile. Yeah, they're just comparing her to Kuno. Like, what the heck? Even though you technically fall in love with her, like, once she explained her story and all that. Warden grinned at that, taking one of her hooves in his own and taking her over to the side of the carriage, leaning in to kiss her neck and cheek slowly. So, no big fight in climatic one moment? The world doesn't work like that, Kuno chatted, poking his nose to the hoof. Well, it needs to work like that, because it's more fun to have it work like that. Warden cast his gaze at the door and then tugged the curtain across the window to give them more privacy. I bet we could get a climatic moment right here if we wanted. Are you guys in the carriage still? By the way, Kuno gave us a naughty giggle at that, looking up at her husband and then nuzzling into his cheek affectionately. You don't want to mull it over to make sure you actually love me? I already know I love you, Warden whispered, kissing Kuno's nose tenderly and wrapping his hooves around her back, holding her close. Now shut up and let's make a baby. Kuno giggled, purring and pressing close to him. I love you too, Warden. Now gift me the magic of procreation, fatness, and a hormonal rage. What the heck? Damn. Going straight into it. Anyways, the epilogue. Let's hop right into that. Warden huffed, delicately twisting the aurora fruit from its stem and letting it drop gently into his good hoof. Before he passed it carefully to one of the guards behind him, there were a total of 4 royal guards assisting him in the harvesting process, taking the fruits from him and placing them into velvet-lined cases designed to keep the delicate fruits from bruising and spoiling. Warden was in a hurry, trying to be fast and be careful at the same time. He already dropped one fruit when he tried to use his bad hoof to speed things up. The resultant magical fireworks explosions had forced Warden to slow down and be more careful, not to mention he owed one of the guards a new chess piece as his was now tinted a bright, vibrant pink ink instead of gold. The reason Warden was in such a hurry was because he had received word that morning that Kuno was having the foal. Oh shit. I understand this. Hurriness. We gotta go. We gotta go, Warden. Let the guards deal with this boat. Wait, no, they can't. Because they're idiots and they will fuck it up and die from it. Okay, understandable. The previous night, Kuno had complained about stomach pains and Warden had merely dosed himself up with Green's Wrath and basically dragged the heavily pregnant Pegasus changing to the hospital, to the Ponyville hospital. But then Warden had to leave. He knew the growing timetable had, and for optimal results, the Aurora had needed to be harvested that day. I don't know why I said it like that. And then the messenger had shown up and told him that Kuno was having the foal. And thus, Warden was in a hurry, moving as fast as he could without risking more fruits. The swollen yellow and red fruits were being packaged away, and Warden was on the last few. The guards somehow lacked the ability to remove the fruit from the stems without coring the fruit. The swollen flesh was actually very fragile, and it required a very specific twist and yank to get the stem to break without tugging the core and seeds of the fruit out of the entirety. I don't know why I'm reading so fucking fast. But it's fucking... Warden's in a rush, I'm in a rush. Alright, we got this. Okay, I need to take a break. Anyways, apparently, just to recap real quick, the guards didn't know how to freaking pick the fruits, and they needed a quick yank and tink. Yeah. Kuno had been, for want of a better term, a hormonal bitch throughout the entire pregnancy. Yeah, that's how she wanted to be. Like, she literally wanted to be that bitch. So, she got what she wanted. Kuno had been, for what of a better term, a hormonal bitch throughout the entire pregnancy. As Warden soon found, changelings were largely unable to deal with hormonal emotion changes. Kuno had gone from an amorous, horny, I want you right now attitude to, why are you so useless and I don't even know why I love you, to please forgive me, I love you and I'm sorry, and the amount of time it took Warden to get her bloated form in the bath. Damn. I would fucking hate that, but you know. Gotta deal with having offspring sometime. But when Warden had his wife curled up in bed with him, snuggled against her back and a hoof gently rubbing at her swollen stomach, it was impossible not to forgive her. And now he was missing the birth. He had tried his best to promise her that he would be there to hold her hoof throughout it. Kuno hit it well, but she was scared. How do you even know? Oh wait, she was wearing a mask. Yeah, okay, so she's Pegasus Kuno at the moment. But then he had to go and harvest the Aurora of risk it all spoiling. When he gave a weary sigh as he tugged down the final fruit and passed it over to one of the guards. I'll be back, later, Warden said as he turned on his hooves and hobbled as fast away down the ravine as he could. These words don't make sense sometimes and it bothers the fuck out of me. Damn, you gotta go. Warden, you gotta see that birth, right? Because you missed the other one, and, you know, she died when she had child and stomach. But, you know, let's forget about that. We were worrying about the present. Dosed up on Greensmith powder, Warden landed heavily in front of the hospital, sprawling out for several long seconds and gritting his teeth. The powder was losing its effectiveness as his body gained resistance against it. Pretty soon, it wouldn't even be enough to allow him to walk on his bad hoof properly. Panting, face pink from the pain, Warden hobbled through the front doors of the hospital and then immediately bolted up the stairs to the second floor, bounding down the hallway, dodging a nurse coming out of her room and skidding to a halt in front of one of the rooms. Looking in, Warden saw his wife laying in bed, a blue bundle in her hooves, as she stared down into the bundle with such a look of love on her face that Warden couldn't bring himself to step into the room and disturb her. Warden wasn't sure how long he stood there watching his wife staring down into the bundle. Eventually, Kuno looked up and he caught sight of him, beckoning to him urgently. Well, you missed the birth. That's nice job. Warden slipped into the room, skidding to a halt in front of the bed, leaning over carefully. Look, Warden, we have a foal. Kuno whispered, her voice breaking, tears of happiness in her eyes as she held out the bundle. Gently, Warden took the bundle from her, pulling aside a fold of cloth to reveal the young Pegasus within. She was a soft powder blue from nose to hooves with a blonde mane. She was a soft powder blue from nose to hooves with a blonde mane and the most beautiful green eyes staring up at him. As she quietly observed him cooing faintly. Question is, okay, it gotta be a hybrid because Kuno is a changeling and okay, right now the foal is a Pegasus. Interesting. I want to know if she has a changeling form. Cause she's a changeling, or this. It would be great if this, like, in this form she's birthed in. Technically, is her like actual normal form, her natural form will be great. It will be freaking great if this is her normal form. But if she changes in front of everybody else, she's a changeling. But, you know, hybrid type. You know, I'm hoping that this is her natural form, because if she turns into, like, how an actual changeling looks, ooh, people gonna have some problems with that. Okay, where am I? Beautiful green eyes staring up at him as she quietly observed him cooing faintly. Warden swallowed hard, staring down at his daughter with a rapt expression. Sorry, guys. A giggle broke him from his reverie, and he looked up sharply, cheeks flushing. She's mesmerizing, isn't she? Kuno whispered. Warden nodded wordlessly, pulling himself onto the bed with his wife and pressing his cheeks against her own lovingly. Sorry I wasn't here for the birth, Kuno. I have no excuse. I forgive you, Kuno whispered, kissing his cheek gently. Warden, we have a daughter. Warden smiled, leaning against his wife and wrapping a hoof around her middle, holding her close as they both stared down into the bundle that held their daughter. She's like me, Kuno said, smiling and spreading the bundle slightly to show him the bell she had affixed to the foal's tail with a red ribbon. The bell jingled, and immediately the foal curled around slightly, shuffling at the bell and nudging it with her hooves, seemingly enjoying the high-pitched jingle it made. Pretty sure no one would like that noise, even if they were a baby. Warden smiled, feeling his heart melt, a lump rising in his throat, just like her mother. The foal nudged the bell again, and then sneezed violently, rocking the bundle with the violence of the emotion. Thinking rapidly and shaking her head, Kuno giggled softly, motioning with her nose towards the baby. Warden blinked, his brows furrowing, and when she sneezed, the foal's eyes had changed from vivid green to a vibrant, lovely pink. Just like her mother, Warden murmured, past the lump in his throat, smiling and kissing Kuno's cheek. So, have you got any ideas for a name? Kuno looked away, biting her brown lip, and then gave him a long stare, looking slightly nervous. I was thinking that maybe Swarm? That's adorable, because Kuno was thinking about him. He's thinking about him. No matter what the case, Kuno is always thinking about him and making sure he's happy. And with that name, he knows it's for him. He wanted this foal for herself, but she also got it for him as well. Warden's ears pinned back at that, and he felt tears rising to his eyes as he pressed his cheeks against Kuno's, gently staring down at his daughter. His heart seemingly swelled to twice the size and melted simultaneously, and he shuddered, feeling a strange, joyous warmth in his chest. His voice wavered and broke with emotion as he stared down at his daughter and whispered, "Welcome to the family, Swarm." The end of Volume 2, everybody! I'm not sure what I'm doing. Anyways, sorry if my commentary was annoying for some of you. I know it might be, because, you know, fuck you guys. This is my channel. I'm running the show I want to. Anyways, boom, boom, boom. Next. I guess next. Volume 3 should be next. And I should have a clock fic in the middle. That's probably what I'm going to read next. Right after this. And just gotta thank you all for watching and listening. Don't like you guys do. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
100,000 stories have filled my head as I look for the answer in what I've read. Secretly waiting for my life to change.